one as Aravallis. Right? Very good. Aravallis, come on, siding Aravallis. They are the oldest mountains of India. They are the oldest fold mountains of India. What do you mean by fold mountains? Whenever the folding takes place, the land elevates up in the middle where it is called as the fold mountain, right? They are the oldest fold mountains of India. Aravallis are the fold mountains. Remember this one, okay? They are the oldest fold mountains of India. In the north, they elevate up to. In the north, they elevate only up to 400 meters. In the north, they elevate only up to 400 meters, but in the south, their elevation is more than 1000 meters. But in the south, their elevation is more than 1000 meters. That means what? Where you can find high elevation? It is in the southern side. Okay? The next point, they are aligned. The next point is they are aligned in the southwest to northeast direction. They are aligned in the southwest to northeast direction. They are aligned in the southwest to northeast direction. Means what? Southwest to northeast means what? Suppose if this is the north, south, east, west, they are aligned like this. From southwest to northeast. Where do you find less height? In the northeastern side. Where do you find more height? Right? Is it okay? They extend from, next point, this point is very, very important. They extend from Palanpur to Delhi. From where to where they extend from? Palanpur. Where is Palanpur? Palanpur is a small village near Ahmedabad. Right on there itself. Palanpur near Ahmedabad. That means what? Right from Ahmedabad, you can reach Delhi if at all you are traveling over these mountains. Okay, you can simply walk to Delhi. From where to where? From Ahmedabad to. Right? This is what the Aravallis. The very important and the tall peak, come on. The tallest peak in the Aravallis is Guru Shikhar. Guru Shikhar in Mount Abu of Rajasthan. What is the tallest peak? The tallest peak is Guru Shikhar. Now, a small question. Which is the tallest peak of Naga Hills? Mount Saramati. Very good. Okay. Remember this one. Mount Saramati is the tallest peak of Naga Hills. What is the tallest peak of Aravallis? Guru Shikhar. Guru Shikhar, where it is located? In the Mount Abu of Rajasthan. Okay. Now, in the central Aravallis, the next one. In the central Aravallis, there is a very sacred place. The central Aravallis, there is a sacred place called Ajmer. See, Ajmer is a very sacred place. Why it is very sacred place? Because of a dargah. What is a dargah? Dargah is a place where the pious personalities and the sacred personalities will be cremated. Whose body was cremated there in Ajmer? One Sufi saint has been buried there, cremated there. What is the name of the Sufi saint? You should be knowing such a greatest personality where he taught humanity. So great personality, never, the Sufi saints, the Islam Bhakti movement, the Sufi saints are the one where they have spread humanity. And they are very, very great personalities. Like, there is a very near, in this Western Ghats, there is another one Sufi saint. Can you name that Sufi saint there? is called as Baba Pahad. The name of the mountains are called as Baba Budan Hills here in the South India. But in northern India, especially in the Ajmer, whose body is cremated? Khwaja Moinuddin Chishti. Okay, called as Gariban Nawaz. Okay, such a great personality. You should be knowing all these things. Very, very important. Khwaja Moinuddin Chishti. And did you see this movie, even the Jodha Akbar? In this one, where Khwaja Gariban Nawaz, nothing but the Khwaja Bande Nawaz was being showed such a great personality. Akbar was a staunch follower of this Sufi saint. Okay, this is what the Ajmer. Okay, very, very important and sacred place that is present here in the central Aravallis is Ajmer, right? From where you can find the birth of river Luni. What is the important? Come on, write down the important rivers that are taking birth from the Aravallis. What are the important rivers that are taking birth from the Aravallis? One is river Luni. Another one, is there any other river? River Luni takes its birth from Aravallis. That everyone knows. Is there any other river? Is there any other river which is taking birth from Aravallis? Very good. Sukri river, but that is not that much big river. Then, is there another river? Sukri. It is a very small stream. Okay, you can't say that one has a big river. Okay, but it is a stream. Sabarmati, Banas. Open that last. Come on. Open that last. Come on. Go to Aravallis. How to identify Aravallis? How to identify Aravallis? Red color. Go to the specific map of Rajasthan. Identify the rivers there. Identify Luni. Is that Luni coming there? Identify Sukri river. Is there? Then, is there any river which is flowing towards the east, not towards the west? Son. Don't say Son river. Could you able to discover the river called as Banas river? Is there? Very important tributary to the Chambal river, which also is at the source is at the Aravalli region. Okay, these are the very important rivers. Fine, this is about the Aravallis. Then, give the next heading as Malwa Plateau. 10, 11. This is what I have given, right? Come on, give the next heading as the second one, Malwa Plateau. See this one. What is Malwa Plateau? Malwa Plateau is located in the northwestern side of Madhya Pradesh, extending even into the states of Rajasthan and to certain extent to the state of Rajasthan, right from Madhya Pradesh till Rajasthan region. Okay, this is what the Malwa Plateau. Malwa Plateau is completely made up of basalt rock. Malwa Plateau is made up of basalt rock. What do you mean by basalt? While discussing the volcanism, we have discussed this particular rock called as basalt rock. What is basalt rock? What is basalt rock? Whenever the magma comes onto the surface, gets solidified, this is what called as basalt rock, which is example for extrusive igneous rock, right? Whenever the basalt rock get weathered, what do you mean by weathering? Disintegration of the rocky material. Whenever the basalt rock get weathered, what type of soil you can find? The formation of which type of soil? What type of soil will be formed? Black soil. This is what I have given the explanation even in the geomorphology, right? What do you mean by black soil? Black soil is a product of the disintegration of basaltic rock. Means what? What type of salt will be there in the Malwa region? Is completely the black soil that is present there. Because of this one, now listen this one. Suppose this is the basaltic Malwa Plateau like this. Clear? Here in the south of this one, to the south of this one, you can find a very tall mountains called as Vindhyas. The Vindhyas are there. Since it is a black soil, which is basaltic soil, which is very, very fine, powdery material. Whenever you are seeing the basaltic or the black soil, you can find very, very fine grains. So, powdery material is the black soil, which is easily erodable, which can be easily erodable. Since it is easily erodable, what happens? The river that is coming from the northern side, means what? From maybe the southern side, okay? From the Vindhyas, when the river is flowing like this, what the river has did here, suppose if this is the condition, the river is coming like this, as and where the river is coming like this, it started bisecting this piece of land like this. The river started bisecting the rocky material like this. Wherever the stream was moving, it was continuous piece of land once upon a time. Now, suppose if this is the human, that fellow can't travel continuously right from here till here. Why? Because the river that was flowing has bisected the land region. Therefore, you can find very great depression like this. Such type of cuttings over the land. What is this one? It is because of erosion, right? It is because of erosion where the land got bisected. Such type of cuttings means what? Erosion, where they are called as entrenchments. It's called as entrenchments. Now understand this one. Very, very important. Even that is a topic that is connected with the soil erosion. Whenever you are walking on the road after the rainfall, whenever you see the sides of the roads, suppose if the road is in elevated condition, by the side, what happens? Due to the flow of the river or due to the flow of the rainwater, how the soil will be? The soil will be in a bisected condition, like you can make out very easily, yes, water has flown like this. There is a small channel, right? What is the channel? That is what called as entrenchment. Is it clear? The moment when the entrenchments gets enlarged, why the entrenchment needs to get enlarged? Because of more flow of the water. When more and more water is flowing, means what? More velocity is there, more volume is there. When more the water flows, then what happens? The entrenchments gets enlarged. The enlarged entrenchment is called as rill. The enlarged entrenchment called as rills. If the rills gets enlarged, where they are called as? They are called as, very good, they are called as gullies. This is what the word called as gully. What is gully? Gully is not the Hyderabadi gully. What do you mean by gully? Gully is a very narrow passage, so that if one fellow is moving, the other fellow can't enter. That is what called as the gully, which is a translated word in English. From the local language, it got translated into English. This is what the one. Gullies. What are gullies? Gullies are very, very narrow water passes. Now, right now, river may not be there, but the land got bisected like this. Whenever the gullies get enlarged, this is very, very important. Whenever the gullies get enlarged, they are called as ravines. All they are very important. See this one. Whenever the erosion takes place, how the erosion takes place? Because of the more volume of the water, then whenever it is flowing over the land area, the land gets eroded. The erosion takes place in the form of small entrenchments, nothing but small channels through which the water travels. If the small channels get enlarged, where it is called as rills. If the rills get enlarged, where it is called as gullies. If the gullies get enlarged, it is what called as ravines. Whenever the land is full of gullies and ravines, make note this one, very, very important. Whenever the land is full of ravines and gullies, whenever the land is full of ravines and gullies, such land is called as, this is called as bad land. Could understand? What is a bad land? Bad land is a land with full of ravines and gullies. What do you mean by ravine and gully? It's a enlarged, eroded area. Is it okay? This is what called as bad land. What is that river? What is that river that is coming from the Vindhyas, where it has created ravines and gullies over the Malwa plateau? It is the river called as Chambal. Therefore, the badlands that are present in the Malwa plateau, they are called as Chambal badlands. Could you understand? They are called as Chambal badlands. Where do you find badlands in India? It is in the Chambal valley, right? Where we people are well aware of the Chambal. Chambal is popular for what? Chambal, normally you will be coming across this one. See this one. See the explanation. This is what the explanation that is given. But if you can extend that explanation in order to have a very good clarity, how it appears. The land is badland. Why it is called as badland? Since it is not useful for agriculture. Why? What do you mean by bad? What do you mean by bad or good? Whenever the land is very fertile, whenever the land is completely a plain area, definitely it is called as good land. Whenever the land is not fit for agriculture, if the land is not fit for industries, if the land is not fit for even the residential purposes, such land is called as bad land. Why the land is not fit? Because it is having full of, what are these? Gullies and ravines. Whenever there is no continuity, you can't go for tilling the land. Whenever there is no continuity, you can't construct the buildings. Whenever there is a gap here, you can't construct what is called as industries. In order to construct industries, you need to have a bridge here. Could understand? Therefore, how many bridges you can construct? The entire the land is keep on breaking into pieces and pieces. This is what called as the badland topography. Clear? Where do you find the badland topography? In the northwestern side of Madhya Pradesh. Open that list. Come on. You need to check the area. In the northwestern part of Madhya Pradesh, you can find the region called as badland. That land is called as Chambal badland. Could you understand? This is called as Chambal badland. Could you able to imagine the picture in the mind? Could you able to imagine the picture in the mind, how the badland is there? I will show you one picture so that you will be having a very good clarity. All you people have seen badlands. All you have seen the badlands. What is a badland? In the movie, normally in the TVs, in the serials or somewhere in the Discovery Channel, you will be seeing these badlands. Since it is a local one, we will be showing that one in one movie. What is that movie? Vikramarka. That is what in Hindi what is called as? Rowdy Rathod. Yes, yeah, Vikramarkudu or Rowdy Rathod. Right. See the last scene where the two fellows, the villain will be fighting here. Someone will be running here by carrying a small kid, right? In which area where the people are running? It is what? Gullies. It is what? Ravines. Could you able to make out this one? Don't write one in the exam. Sir, in the movie called as our heroine is running in the gully. Don't write all these things. But the thing is, you need to have a very great clarity regarding how the gully appears. Could you able to see that narrow narrow passage? Why it is narrow and why it is having sand there under the lower areas? Because the water has deposited the sand there, in which some of the people are running there, right? Could you able to see the complete structure there? That is what called as the gullies. Could you understand? Gullies, if they are extended in size, where they are called as ravines. This is what called as the badland topography. Where do you find badland? In the world regions, you can find number of badlands, but in India, you can find badlands in the Chambal region. Why only in the Chambal region? Because Malwa is made up of basaltic rock. And moreover, the river is in the youth stage. The Chambal river is flowing very swiftly. What do you mean by shift? The fast moving water. Because of fast moving water, the erosion has taken place. Because of the erosion, the land got bisected into entrenchment, rills, gullies and ravines. These are the process of erosion. Could you understand? Whenever the erosion takes place, these are all the features that will take place. Is it clear? This is what the Malwa Plateau. That is the reason here when the land is bad land, only bad people will be staying here. It's not the land for good people, like the most wanted people, the dacoits, even fugitives. These fellows will be staying here. The best example, Pulan Devi, who happens to be the member of parliament latter. From where she is from? Chambal constituency. You understand? This is what the reality. But why the people are staying here? In order to hide. It is providing the hiding space. Clear? Who has created that hiding space? The flow of the river. This is what the badland. Is it clear? Where do you find badlands? In the Malwa Plateau region. Bundelkhand. It is located in the northern Madhya Pradesh and southern Uttar Pradesh. Located in the northern Madhya Pradesh and southern Uttar Pradesh. Come on, check in the atlas. See the projection of Madhya Pradesh into Uttar Pradesh. If at all you are seeing the Madhya Pradesh, there is a projection like this. There is a projection of Madhya Pradesh into Uttar Pradesh. Right? That is the area where it is called as Bundelkhand region. Identify the regions like Lalitpur, Jhansi. Could you able to find the regions like Lalitpur, Jhansi? Okay? This entirely almost some 11 to 12 districts are there where entire area is a Bundelkhand region. What is the main type of rock where the Bundelkhand is made up of? Before going to see the type of rock, now understand this one. Bundelkhand is a chronic drought prone area. Chronic drought prone. In the central part of India, the very central part of India is a completely drought prone. What do you mean by chronic? Frequently drought prone. Every time it will be drought affected. Because of this one, the central government has given huge package for the drought proofing. All the other governments like Telangana government, Andhra Pradesh government, all these people are asking the financial package which is equivalent to the Bundelkhand like package. Means what? Bundelkhand is getting enough funds from the central government. Okay? But what is Bundelkhand? Why it is chronic drought prone? See here, whenever you are talking about the drought, what should be the amount of rainfall? The rainfall should be very less. The rainfall should not be there. At the same time, rivers should not be there. Whenever the rivers are not there, properly are not flowing, where the volume of the river will be less, at the same time, when there is no rainfall, the area will be turned into drought, right? But what type of rainfall and how much amount of rainfall is happening? Are there any rivers in the Bundelkhand? Identify there. Identify the rivers like Betwa. Identify the rivers like Betwa, Ken. Could you able to see the rivers like Betwa, Ken? Parbati. Could you able to see the rivers like Parbati, Ken, Betwa? Okay? At least Ken and Betwa, if not Parbati, okay? Parbati is a very small river, okay? Now, see this one. Such a Dushan even, okay? Dushan, Parbati, Ken, okay? D-U-S-H-A-N. Dushan, Parbati, Ken, Betwa. See the rivers. There are 4 rivers that are flowing over this region, yet it is drought prone. How comes there can be a drought prone when the land is having 4 rivers? It should not be drought prone, right? Now, the major rivers like Betwa and Ken. These are the very 2 mighty rivers that are flowing in this region, right? When the rivers are flowing, at the same time, how much of amount of rainfall is happening? On an average, the rainfall that is present here in this region is 100 centimeters. What do you mean by 100 centimeters? How much Telangana is getting the rainfall on average? 75 centimeters. When Telangana is getting only 75 centimeters of rainfall and Bundelkhand is getting 100 centimeters of rainfall, how can it can give a drought prone status for the Bundelkhand? Why not for Telangana? Who has to be given the drought prone status? In fact, Telangana, because it is having just 75 centimeters of rainfall. But how much of rainfall is happening in Bundelkhand? 100 centimeters. When 100 centimeters of rainfall is happening, at the same time, rivers like Betwa and Ken are flowing there. Why this region is a frequently drought prone area? Why? Because this Bundelkhand, listen this one, this point is very important. This Bundelkhand is completely made up of very, very hard granite and gneiss rocks. Bundelkhand is made up of completely full of granite and gneiss rocks. What are gneiss rocks? Gneiss rocks are the metamorphic rocks where they are very, very hard. Such a hard gneiss, G-N-E-S-S-I-S, gneiss rocks and the granite rocks are there. Because of such a hard land topography, whenever the rain takes place, though the rainfall is 100 centimeters, though the rivers flow, the percolation into the inner layers, is not there. Could you understand? Because of very hard rocky material, the percolation is not happening. When the percolation is not there, there is no groundwater. And how many months where the rainfall will be there in India? It is only in the monsoonal time period, maybe for 3 to 4 months. After 3 to 4 months, what happens? There won't be any rainfall. This is what the condition where for the 3 to 4 months, this region will be having full of water. After this one, it won't be having good amount of water. Therefore, it is a frequent and chronic drought prone area. Could you understand? It's all because of the type of material Bundelkhand is made up of. Bundelkhand is a drought prone region. See the areas. You need to understand even the economy of this region. If this is the drought prone, what type of agriculture can be there? Agriculture won't be prosperous. Then how comes the regions like Jhansi ki Rani, where it was a kingdom once upon a time? What type of lifestyle where the people have lived? Even today, what is the condition there? In the southern UP is not prosperous, but whereas the northern UP highly prosperous economically. Why? Because it has come into the peninsular India, whereas the northern UP completely plain area. Could you understand? This is what the understandability. If you can understand like this, you can relate the farmer society, you can relate the agricultural prosperity, you can relate the lifestyle of the people, you can relate a number of things. But the only thing what you need to understand is a broader picture. What type of conditions are there? Once you know the conditions, you can relate to a number of aspects. Is it clear? This is what the Bundelkhand is. If there is a question like Dushan, Parbati, Ken, Baitwa are the rivers which are flowing in which type of area? Where they are flowing? They are flowing not in Madhya Pradesh, not in Uttar Pradesh. Don't say Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. Whenever it comes to the physical geography, you need to talk about the specific names of the region. Like Bundelkhand, right? If there is a question like Mewar, where the Mewar is located? Mewar is a part and parcel of Rajasthan. Could you understand? This is what you need to understand. Whenever you say Malwa Plateau, yes, Malwa is a geographical element, right? Malwa Plateau. But whenever there is a question like Malwa Plateau, what you need to overlap with? You need to overlap with the physical part. What is that political structure where you can understand very easily? It is the western part of Madhya Pradesh. Could you understand? This is where you can, if we can overlap the geographical elements with the political elements, then you will be having very good clarity. Is it clear? If I say one question here, all you people are well aware of Eastern Ghats, right? All you people are well aware of the word called as the Eastern Ghats, Western Ghats, right? How many people have seen Eastern Ghats? How many people have seen Eastern Ghats? How many people have seen Western Ghats? Western Ghats you went. Eastern Ghats, you didn't see this one. Okay, now, let me put the question in a different way. All you people might have went to this Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam. How many people visited Tirumala Tirupati? Come on, please, raise. Only few people left, okay, in the class, okay. How many people have seen Vizag? Good number. Vijayawada for that matter. Guntur, you do one thing. Whatever the names I said, keep on raising, keep the hand straight as it is. Come on, Guntur, Vizag, Tugoji, Pagoji, means what? East Godavari, West Godavari, come on. Srikakulam, Vijayanagaram, Simhadri Appanna, How many people have visited? Now almost all, everyone is there. But what you don't know is, they are all coming under Eastern Ghats. You see Eastern Ghats only in the map, only in the geography textbook. You never compare these things with the practical type of education. This is where the students are getting failed, especially South Indians. You know, the practical approach is missing, the interlinking is missing. When you are in the Tirumala Tirupati, where you are in the Eastern Ghats. Do you understand? Don't simply say that, Yedu Kondalu Poinamu, Govinda Annamu. It's not the one. Where you are in the Eastern Ghats. When you go to Kadapa, when you go to Karnool, Nallamala forest, where it is? Part of Eastern Ghats. See, this is what you need to have a link. If the link is not there, what you read nothing, zero. If you know all the elements like Eastern Ghats, Western Ghats, without having a link with the practical world, what you have read? You read zero. How many have you visited Western Ghats? Now the people are raising their hands. Which area of Western Ghats? Which area of Western Ghats you visited? Okay, you went to Kerala. Which part of Kerala? Thank God, at least you know the name of the state. Okay, Goa. Means what? Whenever you are in the Western Maharashtra, Goa, Western Karnataka, then the parts of Nilgiris of Tamil Nadu, and even entire Kerala, what is a part? Part is nothing but Western Ghats. Could understand? We'll come across such elements here, but you never will be overlapping this one. That is the biggest mistake. If we can connect, no one can stop your victory. This is what I want to tell right from the beginning. I'm telling this one, but you people are unable to catch the essence of this one. Is it clear? Don't simply see Bundelkhand as a small round circle here. Bundelkhand is a part which is located in the northern part of Madhya Pradesh and the southern part of Uttar Pradesh, where it is almost all 11 districts of both MP and UP. Is the intersection area. Okay, the best example, Lalitpur. Identify Lalitpur there. Jhansi are there. Likewise, there are some 11 districts are there. Okay, this is what the one. Then give the next heading as Bagelkhand. Come on, give the heading as Bagelkhand. Bagelkhand is located in the northeastern part of Madhya Pradesh. Come on, see Bagelkhand, northeastern part of Madhya Pradesh. Identify the Bagelkhand region. Go to the districts like Satara, Satna, Rewa. Rewa is there. Satna is there. It's not Satara. Satara comes there in another area. Satna is there. Rewa is there. Okay. These are the areas where you can find the plateau called as Bagelkhand Plateau. Clear? Now, come on, write down this one. Bagelkhand Plateau. Bagelkhand Plateau is made up of limestone and sandstone. Bagelkhand Plateau is made up of limestone and sandstone. Since it is made up of limestone, for what limestone is a raw material? For which industry? Cement industry. Therefore, what type of developments you can find in the Bagelkhand? You can find number of cement industries. In fact, India's largest cement industries are located there. Why? Because availability of the raw material. Means what? What you can talk about? You can talk about the factors affecting the location of industries. Could understand? You don't simply see Bagelkhand as a Bagelkhand. You need to have a interlinking to the other topic like factors affecting the location of industries. Why the cement industries are located mostly in the northeastern part of Madhya Pradesh. You name a cement industry that is located there. Why? Because availability of raw material. This is where the cement industries are highly located. Wherever the availability of the raw material is there, like limestone, the best example Nalgonda region. The best example the Kadapa region. Wherever such a raw materials are available, you can find the cement industry. Don't you think that our Telangana is not a hub of cement industry? Don't you think that the Kadapa region of Andhra Pradesh is not a hub of cement industry? Yes, it's a hub of cement industry. At the same time, what is the capital city there? For the cement, it is the northeastern part of Madhya Pradesh, which is called as the Baghelkhand Plateau. Entire plateau is made up of limestone. Therefore, you can find the very great cement industries that are located there. Clear? This is what Baghelkhand. Baghelkhand Plateau is made up of limestone and sandstone. Therefore, it is industrially very developed. Now, see the question. If there is a question in the UPSC asking like which part of Madhya Pradesh, whether the northwestern part of Madhya Pradesh or the northeastern part of Madhya Pradesh is industrially developed. What is there in the northwestern? Badland. Can you have any industries there in the badland? What type of industries can be there in the eastern part? Cement industry. When cement is there, construction activity happens where? More there. Which part of Madhya Pradesh is highly developed? Now you are in a position to explain. Could I able to understand this one? This should be implied. It never they will be writing or never they will be giving in any textbook. What you need to do is, you need to read between the lines. What do you mean by reading between the lines? You need to see whatever is not given there. That is what the ability of the civil servant. Is that clear? What is explicitly given, everyone can understand. Means what? What do you mean by what is explicitly expressed there? Given in writing, everyone can understand. What is not given, that is implied, implicitly given, you need to analyze. Is that clear? Whenever you are a great officer, someone comes before you in a acting mood and that fellow will pretend like this fellow is very poor and he wants a big contract. Because of outer appearance, because of external expressive things, if you melt down and if you can sanction, that fellow might be coming in a bench. Who knows? That is what the ability of the administrator. You should be understanding the inner things. Even you people, whenever you are speaking to any fellow, whoever may be the fellow before you, whenever you are speaking to any fellow, just don't listen what he is telling. You need to understand in the back of the mind from where this fellow is feeling, what this fellow is talking about, what is his idea about. You need to understand the inner sense. Then only you are called as a clever fellow. Don't simply talk to the fellows just like that. This is what the ability, the inner ability you need to build up, right? If at all you want to become a greater officer, come on, build up this one. If you don't want, yes, sir, I am straightforward, sir. This is what the weakness the people will be expressing. It's not, don't don't exhibit any weakness to anyone. To understand the ability of building the character, this is what you need to build up, right? Then, after the Baghelkhand, give the heading as Chotanagpur. This is very, very important. Come on, give the heading as Chotanagpur. Chotanagpur is called as the Ruhr of India. Ruhr, R-U-H-R. Chotanagpur is called as the Ruhr of India. What do you mean by Ruhr of India? What is Ruhr? Ruhr of India. Ruhr is a valley region in the Germany where you can find n number of minerals. So many minerals are available there. On the same lines in India where you can find so many minerals, it is in the Chotanagpur region. Therefore, the Europeans name this one as it is the Ruhr of India. It's called as the Ruhr of India. Okay? What is Ruhr? Ruhr region is the one which is having a very great mineral availability or mineral source in the Germany region and the boundary between France and Germany. On the same lines in India, you can find so many minerals. See the minerals. What are the minerals that are available here in the Ruhr region of India? Nothing but the Chotanagpur region. You name a mineral that is available. Iron is available. Yes, mineral. Coal is available. Yes, it is available. Manganese available. Yes. Chromium is available. Yes. You can find nickel. You can find cobalt. Even you can find the mighty mineral like uranium. When so many minerals are available in one locality, the same in the entire world, such a conditions are found in two areas. One is the Ruhr region of Europe, other one is the Chotanagpur region of India. That's why it is called as the Ruhr of India. Clear? Which plateau is called as the Ruhr of India? It is the Chota Nagpur region. But the Chota Nagpur, geographical, understand, this is the practical, this is not the overlapping. The Chota Nagpur plateau got spread into the states of, come on, write down. It is called as the Ruhr of India. Why it is called as Ruhr of India? Because of availability of number of minerals. Geographically, it got spread into the states of, come on, Jharkhand, then Chhattisgarh, very good, then Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, wonderful, then Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, then Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, then where do you find more minerals? Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, very good, Orissa, come on, write down. It got spread into the states of Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Orissa. These are the main states. Also, to certain extent, the parts of Madhya Pradesh, especially, Gadchiroli region, also parts of Bengal, the Purnia region of Bengal, Purnia. Okay, that much depth is not required. Just write down the three very important states. What are the three important states? Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, and Orissa. These are the very important states where the Chota Nagpur got spread into, right? Now, see this one. Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Orissa. Also, write down certain other areas which is overlapping area between Orissa, Chhattisgarh, our Telangana, and even our Andhra Pradesh. The region is called as Dandakaranya. Dandakaranya region. This is what? A very important geographical area. Dandakaranya is a part and parcel of Chota Nagpur plateau. Right? This region is called as Patland. This region is called as Patland, P-A-T-L-A-N-D, Patland. Which plateau is called as Patland? It is Chota Nagpur plateau. Where you can find the Patland characters? In Jharkhand. Come on, write down Jharkhand. Where you can find the Patland characters? The Patland characters are found in the Jharkhand region. Patland character. But the question is, what is Patland? What is Patland? We have explained very wonderfully. Chota Nagpur is called as Patland. The Patland characters are perfectly found in the Jharkhand region. But the question is, what is a Patland? Patland is such a land where you can find a very complicated, the complex structure of the plateau, especially appears just like plateau over plateau. What is a Patland? In a very simpler language, it is a complex means what? The complex structure of the plateau simply appears just like plateau over plateau. Whenever there is a plateau over plateau type of structure, where it is called as Patland. What is the best example? Hazaribagh is a Patland. Ranchi is a Patland. Ranchi plateau. Ranchi plateau. Ranchi itself is a plateau. Means what? Where it is located? On the Chota Nagpur plateau. Over Chota Nagpur plateau, again the another plateau is there called as Ranchi plateau. Also you can find another plateau called as Hazaribagh. Hazaribagh plateau. These are the best examples for Patland over, means what? Patland topography means what? Plateau over plateau topography, right? This is a very simpler form of explanation. What is a Patland? Patland is a land where it got twisted and is having a complex structure. But how to understand in a very simpler manner? Plateau over plateau simply called as Patland structure. Is it clear? Means what? In one side of India, eastern side you can find Patland. In the western side you can find Badland. Could understand? Explain the Patland and Badland features of India. Then what you need to explain? If the question is asked like, explain the Badland and the Patland features of India. When you don't understand what you mean by Patland, when you don't understand what is Badland, how can you explain? Now, whenever the question is asked like explain the features of patlands and the badlands of India, then what you need to write the answer? You need to talk about the Malwa on one side, you need to talk about the Chotanagpur on another side, especially focusing on Jharkhand. Best examples for patland, Ranchi, then Hazaribagh. Is that clear? This is what the patland topography. Because this one only where you can find number of minerals, right? The next one, Chhattisgarh. Siding Chhattisgarh. Chhattisgarh, what do you mean by Chhattisgarh? What is Chhattis? Chhattis. Chhattis is 36, not 26, okay. What is 26? At least you know the people are good in numbering, okay. See here, Chhattisgarh. What do you mean by Garh? Garhs are nothing but the forts. Garh is nothing but fort, F-O-R-T, fort. One clan, there was a clan called as Hatiya Vanshi clan. There was a clan called as Hatiya Vanshi clan. Write down this one, Hatiya Vanshi. The clan called as Hatiya Vanshi clan, where this clan, these people have constructed 36 forts in this region. Therefore, the area is called as Chhattisgarh. Could understand? Means what? The land of 36 forts. What do you mean by land of 36 forts? The state of Chhattisgarh. Is it clear? The land of 36 forts is called as Chhattisgarh, constructed by Hatiya Vanshi clan. Right? This is what called as Chhattisgarh. This is the literal meaning of the Chhattisgarh. Now, see the geographical condition of Chhattisgarh. Chhattisgarh is a... Now, come on, let me put one more question before going to explain this one. What type of activities are there for the people? Jharkhand, where the mining activity is the prominent activity, right? Orissa, mining activity is a prominent activity. Agriculture, prosperity in Jharkhand is very less. Orissa is also very less. But what about Chhattisgarh? Mining is there. Because extension of Chotanagpur, definitely mining should be there. Is the agriculture is prosperous or not? Is agriculture is happening in Chhattisgarh or not? Jharkhand, no agriculture. Orissa, only on the coastal side. In the entire area, there is no agriculture properly, right? But about Chhattisgarh, come on. Is the agricultural activities are found here in the Chhattisgarh region? What type of agriculture is there? If yes, is it a plantation or is it a paddy cultivation or the wheat cultivation or some other horticulture? What Chhattisgarh is famous for? Chhattisgarh, we people, you people never could even imagine what is Chhattisgarh. Chhattisgarh is a bowl, rice bowl of central India. Very great amount of productivity is there, especially the paddy production. All the people are agricultural laborers. A very fine and a very great productivity of paddy is happening there. But how comes when it is a plateau region, how comes there can be agricultural prosperous condition? Listen the geographical condition here. Chhattisgarh is in a shape of, see the condition here. Chhattisgarh is in a shape called as saucer-like structure. Chhattisgarh is something like this. This is a saucer-like structure. This is the one. Entirely this is the land, filled with the sediments. Is a saucer-like structure. Entire this saucer is a very, very hard rocky material. This is a very hard rocky material. Entirely under this one you can find hard rocky material. But over the, here the people are staying. Okay? Is that okay? Could able to understand? What is the structure of Chhattisgarh? Chhattisgarh is having a saucer-like structure. This is the saucer. Do you know saucer? Cup and saucer. Okay? How the saucer is there? Exactly, Chhattisgarh is a saucer-like structure. Because of this one, what is happening here? A small amount of rainfall. Maybe just 60 centimeters of rainfall to 100 centimeters of rainfall. A small amount of rainfall will be sufficient for the production of paddy. Normally, what is the amount of water that is required for the cultivation of the paddy? 100 to 120 centimeters of rainfall. is the one which is minimum required. But here, see the condition. Any amount of rainfall, like maybe right from 60 to 100 centimeters, will get stored here itself. There is no question of percolation. Whatever the rainfall that takes place, all the rainwater will be available in a very small area. Therefore, it is quite sufficient for the producers, the farmers, for the cultivation of paddy, as there is no percolation. Why there is no percolation? Because it is made up of completely hard rocky material. Because of this one, you can find a very great amount of agricultural productivity here. Moreover, the type of soil that is present is red soil. Wonderfully, you can find red and the mix of red and black there. You can find wonderfully the cultivation of the paddy there. Okay, mostly red and yellow is the dominated. Red is the one which is dominated here. Since it is having such a great facility, you can find a very great amount of agricultural productivity. Is it clear? But the problem. What is the problem? What is the biggest problem here? If any amount of rainfall more than 100 centimeters, what happens? Will leads to flooding condition. This is the area which is prone to flooding. Why? Because where the water can drain into, there is no area for the water to move. Since it is a saucer-like structure, all the water gets stagnates here. Clear? Could understand? This is the geographical structure of Chhattisgarh. Is it clear? Okay. Then Orissa. See the Orissa region, especially in the northern part of Orissa, where it is completely full of the mineral belt. The districts like, see the northern part of the Orissa, which is adjacent to Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. Could you able to see in the map? Okay, the northern part of Orissa, which is completely adjacent to Chhattisgarh and Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand. This is the area where you can find the very great mineral hub, especially the districts like, identify the districts like Mayurbhanj, Keonjhar, Sundargarh. Sundargarh is there. Again, but very close to Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand, right? Mayurbhanj again close to Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand. On the boundary only, you can find all these things. Keonjhar, Mayurbhanj, then Sundargarh. All they are the areas where you can find very rich mineral belt. Especially what type of mineral you can find? Iron is the one which is dominantly found in this region. Clear? This is a very important region. This is about the Orissa region. Is it clear? While discussing the minerals, we will be explaining in deep what are the areas that comes under Jharkhand, what are the areas that are there in the Chhattisgarh, especially the areas like, there is a region called as Bastar, the Bastar Plateau region, where it is a rich iron belt area. Even there is another region called as Durg. We will be explaining all this in the minerals. Means what? Distribution of key natural resources. In that topic we will be explaining. Okay?